The tension in Judge Judy's courtroom was electric. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett sat at the defendant's table, her shoulders straight, eyes focused ahead despite the chaos erupting around her. Judge Judy Scheindlin, America's toughest TV judge, was leaning forward from her bench, her famous stern expression darker than usual. Congresswoman Crockett. Judge Judy's voice cut to the air like a knife. I've been hearing about your grandstanding in Congress, and frankly, I think someone needs to teach you some respect for authority. The packed courtroom held its breath. This wasn't a normal case. This was a special episode featuring the controversial young congresswoman, and Judge Judy was clearly ready for battle. What happened next would become the most watched moment in Judge Judy's 25-year career and turn Jasmine Crockett into an even bigger political superstar. Your Honor, Crockett began, her voice calm but carrying an edge that made everyone lean forward. With all due respect, I think you might want to check your facts before you come for me. The audience gasped. Nobody talks back to Judge Judy, ever. But Jasmine Crockett was about to do exactly that, and her response would leave the famous judge speechless for the first time in television history. If you're ready to see how Congresswoman Crockett handled America's toughest judge, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss these incredible political moments. Now, let's see what happened when two of the strongest women in America went head-to-head. To understand why this confrontation was so explosive, you need to know exactly who these two powerhouses are and what brought them to this moment. Judge Judy Scheindlin has been America's undisputed queen of courtroom television for over 2 decades. At 81 years old, she's built an empire on being tough, no-nonsense, and absolutely intolerant of what she calls foolishness. With her sharp tongue and zero-patience approach, she's made millions by cutting through lies and putting people in their place. Judge Judy came from humble beginnings in Brooklyn, worked her way through law school, and spent years as a family court judge before becoming a TV sensation. She's used to being the smartest person in the room and having the final word on everything. Her show has made her one of the highest-paid people on television, and she's never met a challenger she couldn't shut down. But here's what made Judge Judy so dangerous in this moment. She'd been watching Jasmine Crockett's rise in Congress with growing irritation. As someone who built her career on respect for authority and following rules, Judge Judy saw Crockett's bold questioning of powerful figures as disrespectful grandstanding. Jasmine Crockett, on the other hand, represents everything that threatens Judge Judy's old-school worldview. At 42, she's a former civil rights attorney who's made her name by refusing to back down from anyone. Supreme Court justices, federal judges, or powerful politicians. She didn't get to Congress through connections or family money. She earned it by outworking and outsmarting everyone in her path. Crockett grew up understanding that respect has to be earned, not demanded. Her legal background taught her to come prepared with facts, and her experience as a black woman in politics taught her that she'd have to be twice as good to get half the credit. She's not intimidated by titles, age, or reputation. She cares about truth and justice. The stakes of this confrontation couldn't have been higher. This wasn't just about a TV show. It was about two completely different philosophies of power and respect colliding in real time. Judge Judy represented the old guard. Respect authority first, ask questions later. Crockett represented the new generation. Authority must earn respect through actions, not titles. The winner of this exchange would send a message about whose approach America was ready to embrace. Would Judge Judy's experience and traditional authority triumph? Or would Crockett's preparation and principled boldness prove that a new generation of leaders was ready to take charge? The entire audience knew they were about to witness something historic. Two of the strongest, smartest women in America were about to go head-to-head, and only one would walk away with their reputation intact. The confrontation began almost immediately when Judge Judy called the court to order for what was supposed to be a special episode discussing congressional ethics and public service. Congresswoman Crockett. Judge Judy began, consulting her notes with theatrical importance. I've been watching your performance in Congress, and I have to say, I'm not impressed. The audience shifted uncomfortably. This was already more personal than anyone had expected. You seem to think that being loud and confrontational makes you effective, but what I see is a young woman who doesn't understand how to show proper respect to her elders and betters. Crockett's expression didn't change, but those who knew her could see the slight tightening around her eyes. Judge Judy had just made her first mistake, questioning Crockett's intelligence and respect. "Your Honor," Crockett replied evenly, "I'd be happy to discuss my congressional record with you. I think you might be surprised by what I've actually accomplished." But Judge Judy wasn't interested in a discussion. She was here to deliver one of her famous verbal beatdowns. "Don't you Your Honor me in that tone," Judge Judy snapped, her voice rising. "I've been practicing law since before you were born. I've seen hundreds of lawyers who think they're smarter than everyone else, and they all have one thing in common. They're usually wrong." The tension in the courtroom ratcheted up several notches. Judge Judy was clearly trying to establish dominance through age and experience. "You want to talk about accomplishments? I've been on television for 25 years, making more money than most politicians could dream of, because I know how to handle people like you." Crockett leaned forward slightly, her voice remaining calm but gaining an edge. "Your Honor, I'm not sure what you mean by people like me. Could you clarify that?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Judge Judy had walked into potentially problematic territory, and everyone in the courtroom could feel it. Judge Judy, perhaps realizing her mistake, pivoted to a different attack. "What I mean is politicians who think they can come into established institutions and change everything without paying their dues. You've been in Congress for, what, a few years? And you think you can lecture Supreme Court justices and federal judges?" This was the moment Crockett had been waiting for. Judge Judy had just revealed that she fundamentally misunderstood what Crockett's role actually was. "Your Honor," Crockett said, her voice now carrying the authority she developed through years of courtroom practice, "I think there might be some confusion about how our constitutional system works." The audience could sense that something was shifting. Crockett wasn't backing down.